Raceway. You got a full field here ready to start the season off strong. Yeah. Gridding up here, getting ready to take the green flag. It's going to be a pace lap, and then we will be going green shortly here. Felix, you excited for this race?
Yes, I am. Well, it's nice and sunny out here on the track so far. I'm hoping nothing's gonna go wrong, especially in this pacing lap. Everyone's getting out there, kind of testing a bit of the waters, just getting the wheels warm as we do, kind of head in towards that green lap. I see, you know, we got most of the grid there already. Uh, I don't really know too much about the prototypes, but I'm excited to be here. I'm excited to kind of start this season off with a little bit of clashing. And you got any ideas on some of the drivers that we got here so far, Sky?
I think one we're going to want to take a look at here is going to be R. Muhammad Alif. That's the Ball State car. He has the reigning champion of the CIL's Formula C division, and I believe he is also starting on pole for this race. During the Formula C class last night, second in the sprint race and first in the main. It's going to be interesting to see if he's able to dominate this series in the way that he's able to dominate the Formula C cars.
Yeah, and when you come to really some of these road races, you want to be starting that pole. You're gonna get that advantage. Just cruise in front of everyone. If you're driving faster, I mean, you're just gonna hold that for the rest of the race. What do you got to be worried about? And with that astounding record, it, you really just got to take it as soon as we hit that green. You go, you send it, and you're gonna be going for the rest of the race, just hoping no one can catch you. And again, it just comes with that advantage of being that pole time.
Take a look at our starting grid here. Number one, it's R. Muhammad Alif on pole for Ball State University. Following him, we have Ryan Whitlock. In third place, it's Hunter Hadesty from Clemson. In fourth, still trying to get the name there, by Cale Davidson in third, Hunter Hadesty in fourth. Sorry about that. Edwin Onofre from the University of North Texas comes off fifth, and Bradley Skinker from Ball State on his outside in sixth. Jason Wallet of Drexel starts off seventh tonight, and in eighth place, it's going to be Esteban Munoz. You want to take the rest, Felix?
Yes, I will. We got Alexander Diamond from Drexel University, and then in ninth, and then in 10th, we got Mark Turek from Pennsylvania College of Technology. And then in 11th, we got Andrew Burrell from Clemson University, and sitting in 12th is Timothy Wilms from Drexel. Aiden Lamar, Aiken Lamar from Howard Community College is sitting in 13th. 14th, we got Lucas Moody from Ball State University, and Clint Halterman sitting in 15th from UNC Charlotte, and in 16th, we got Luis Diaz.
That should be our field tonight for the Collegiate Prototype Challenge. Nick Stockner as well will round us out in the back row in 17th as we head around Virginia International Raceway. It's a very fast track, a very flowy track, and one that's sure to be fun here for the opening race of the season.
Yeah, and as we're coming into this last little bit of pacing, it's really going to be a bit of nerves, just kind of working them out here. It's not necessarily a race that means nothing, right? You're going to get a little bit of a gauge on how people are going to drive the rest of the season. Obviously, not everyone in here is going to be competing through the rest of the season, but it's going to be kind of the feeling out session, whether or not you perform highly, you perform not as good as you want, it's going to be kind of whatever. But for the people that are trying to win this thing, it's going to mean a lot to them.
Race that can really kind of start your season off right here. It might not mean anything in points, but it can mean a lot in momentum. If you win the Clash and you perform well here, it could really set you up for next week when we go to Indianapolis and the rest of the season beyond that as well.
Yeah, and just having that first win, having a little bit of, a little bit of dopamine rush, just all of that together, nice way to start your season. And I can't wait to have us get into the action here as it looks like we're rounding out this final little bit.
Cars off. And the green flag's going to come out here as we go down the front stretch at Virginia International Raceway. Great jump for a Leaf on that front row, and Hadesty's going to be behind him. Onofre with a big run up the inside. He's going to try and take fourth. It's going to be a Leaf and Whitlock right now. 1-2. Whitlock trying to size him up as we head through this first tight series of corners here. Don't want to make a mistake early. You're going to want to keep it on the track. Long race, and you want to set yourself up for success.
Yeah, and with these cold tires that everyone's currently sitting on, you know, you got to give yourself a bit of a lap, maybe one, maybe two, maybe even three, just to kind of warm them up before you start going for some more questionable moves.
I want to take it easy here at the start. Burn it up pretty bad. These cars are everybody in the field. This is the first time we've ever run this series, so everybody's going to be learning a bit on the fly here. You know, CIL Formula C, we've got multiple seasons of that, so the drivers know what to expect. That's not so much the case here, as Whitlock's trying to size up a Leaf and trying to find a way around here early in this race.
Yeah, and everyone's pretty much sticking close together. There's not too much of a gap that's been formed so far, but like you said, a Leaf is just being a little threatened here and there, but nothing much has transpired yet. I imagine as these tires just kind of warm up, we'll be seeing some more moves made.
Yeah, Leaf out front right now. We got Ryan Whitlock behind him. Onofre back there in fourth. And oh, we have a spinner through the grass. I believe that was third place right there going around.
Yeah, and just right off into the dirt. It happens when you're sitting on these cold tires. You got to warm that car up first. Sometimes you just go a little too far, touch that grass, and then it's over for you.
We'll try and get a replay here and see who that was. We're currently taking a look at the number 38 Ball State car moving around in third position, trying to see if he can get through the field. That's Cale Davidson right there for Ball State. Trying to size up Ryan Whitlock. I don't think he's going to be too aggressive early on in this race, but as the laps start to wind down, we'll see what moves start to get made here. This race isn't for points. It's all just pride on the line tonight, so we'll see if someone maybe makes a move that they wouldn't make during the regular season to get a win here.
Yeah, and with that spin, there was a little bit of a gap created between Wallet and Skinner there in that 5th and 6th place, and that field just over time is slowly going to gain more space, and a Leaf will have more room to work with up in this front position.
Take a look at Jason Wallet under threat. There in 6th. Wallet, an esteemed competitor in this series. He's been around in Formula C for a while, runs Cup, knows a lot about these cars, and he's leading a pretty big line back there. A little bit of gap in front of him, but the battle's going to be close here between him and Skinker, and we'll see if he can make a move coming down this big straightaway. Oh, car off there. I believe that's going to be Whitlock, but I'm not entirely sure.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll be able to get, hopefully, maybe, yeah, it was Whitlock off into the grass. And again, you know, we're only on lap 2. Those cold tires, they're still there. They're not fully warmed up yet. You just make one little wrong move, and we're looking to get a replay on that one.
Just locks it up into the turn straight off. This is the one, I believe, from lap 1. He's going to try and get it back on the track here. There he goes. He makes it work.
Yeah, and saving that one without taking anyone out is
always another car off behind him.
Yeah, I guess we missed that one.
Very tight racetrack here, and you're seeing that early. A lot of mistakes out of these drivers as they try to get used to this new car in this new series. Just trying to find the limits. Sometimes they're missing them.
Talk about limit finding. Almost another car going off into the grass
there. Get some off tracks early on here. Skinker's made it past Waller for 4th up there. You're going to see Diamond, Burrow, Moody kind of round out that top 6, 7, 8. It's a pretty tight pack there. They're all racing pretty good. Let's see. Ball State 38 car trying to make moves here. A little bit of a gap both ahead of and behind him. I believe that is 2nd place Cale Davidson right there. He's going to see if he can catch up to his teammate, Muhammad Alif, who's currently the race leader, and starting to pull away a bit with it.
Yeah, and you know, we talked about it, right? You just got to send it. As soon as that green happens, a Leaf just wants to get as big of a lead as he can, because, you know, when you're pushing that hard, especially in these types of cars, you know, you're going to burn up your tires eventually. Maybe someone who's been driving a little more safe might be able to make up some of that distance, but as of right now, sitting comfortably in first.
And there goes Cale Davidson. Seen a lot of spins at the front of the pack today, and he is the latest victim of this tricky racetrack. He's going to get swallowed up here as there's a lockup behind him as he tries to get around, and that's going to be side by side between Skinker and Wallet for fourth. Whole pack of cars bottled up by that spin.
Yeah, and that spin just caused all those cars. Look at that. We got 5 full sets of cars just all sitting bunched up behind this 2 car as, I mean, when you do something like that, obviously they got to brake behind you just to make sure not to collapse. But he did it without hitting anyone, so that's always the positive.
Yeah, it's going to be Cale Davidson. Following him, Skinker, Wallet, Diamond, 2 more teammates right there. Burrow and then Moody trying to make a move on Burrow as we head down this long straight. Wallet's gonna look on Skinker, but he's pretty far back. He's not gonna get there. It's gonna be interesting to see if teammates maybe play a factor in this. You know, you got 2 Ball State cars 3rd and 4th, 2 Drexel cars 5th and 6th, another Ball State car in 8th, and then Burrow is just kind of on his own, hanging out there in 7th. Doesn't really have any friends in this pack. Everyone's gonna be aggressive towards him.
And Burrow, that number 7 car, his friends sitting all the way back there in 15th. Maybe can try and work the way up through the pack, get up there and give him a little bit of help as he's completely surrounded by the opposition right now.
Yeah, we saw Stockner go around earlier in this race. He's going to be trying to have a pretty good recovery drive, so we'll see if he ends up being able to do that. As Moody's made it up to 6th now. Might have had a spinner there. Alexander Diamond dropped several spots down the order along with Burrell. Wallet right now still behind Skinker, and you see the cars behind him not as tight as they were. It's a pretty big gap back to that other Ball State car, Lucas Moody in 6th. Gap well extended from what it was a couple seconds ago with whatever happened to Diamond and Burrow.
And Wallet and Lucas sitting here fighting for this 5th position. Wallet is right on top of Moody, and I don't really know if there's going to be any sort of pass, but it looked like Wallet just overdrove that one just a tiny bit, so maybe Moody's going to have him here on this exit with that draft.
What we're thinking here is if you're able to survive this race, you're probably going to get a pretty good finishing position, especially with all the mistakes we've seen so far. We've seen Stockner around, we've seen Davidson around, we've seen mistakes back there, Diamond and Burrow. Wallet's up in P5, Skinker's up in P4, and a lot of that is just passing cars who've gone off track. They're making good time, keeping themselves consistent, staying on track, and that's paying off on the leaderboards right now.
Yeah, and something else paying off on the leaderboards is the consistency of a Leaf a full 7 seconds ahead of 2nd place right now. And, you know, we talked about it before you started, saying Leaf's going to run away with this one, and right now it seems to be the case. Ooh, a little scary there through the bus stop, but doing okay right now.
Muhammad continuing his domination of this race, a whole 7.5 seconds out in front of his competition here. 12 back to 3rd, 15 seconds all the way back there to Bradley Skinker running 4th. And it's only about 6 laps into this race here. I mean, 45-minute race, we're still pretty early on. We're only about 10 minutes into this thing, and already a Leaf has created a pretty dominant gap for himself, and he's going to need to maybe have a spin or something if he's going to lose that. See Jason Wallet coming around here, still trying to work on Bradley Skinker. It looks like Skinker's getting away a little bit, but Wallet's keeping it close. Still under a second back. He's still looking to make a move, but he hasn't gotten his opportunity yet. And it looks like Skinker might just be outpacing him a little bit as well. And there's there's a big crash up there at the top of the hill. Burrell and maybe Diamond again involved in that.
Burrow and Diamond dropping multiple spots at the same time, possibly, you know, like you said, we're going to have to look at it, but possibly evolved in yet another one.
Yeah, we already saw one. There's definitely a Clemson car on the top of the hill. There he goes, and oh, Diamond's in a separate incident. So Diamond drives it into the wall. Burrell comes up behind him, and Burrell takes himself out with him, it looks like. That's a bizarre accident right here. We're going to see Alexander Diamond. Oh, he just misses the corner. Good job to keep that out of the wall there. That doesn't look like you should give him too much damage. You should be able to continue in the race. A really good job to get that car stopped before he went head on into the wall and gave himself some bigger problems there. Here's Burrell's on board. Coming down to the corner. Yeah. Overdrives it, gets on the gas a little too early, and that's going to be the result of that. Backwards on the racetrack. No damage, it looks like, to him either, but it's probably not going to help his tires. Especially all the way back in 13th.
Yeah, the only thing coming out of that is going to be that tire wear, as you know, Whitlock here is sitting looking for the moves. Nothing really happening right now, but I mean,
he's there. He's looking. It's gonna be him on Luis Diaz right there, trying to get around him. See if he can maybe use some slipstream down the straightaway, try to get a pass made into this corner. Got a lot of time. It's a very long straight, and that's gonna really help him as he gets up behind. Move inside, looking, he's not gonna get there, as we're gonna cut back to the right now. And Whitlock's gonna extend that lead a bit as there's another car off behind them. That's Clint Halterman, I believe. Yeah, Clint Halterman down the order, going off there in the corner. A lot of mistakes early on in this race from these drivers.
Car after car just going off, either overdriving it, losing it, getting it on the gas just a bit too early. And you talked about it, right? The cars that are sitting and surviving this race who haven't just spun out. We see it in essentially everyone from 2 through 6. They're just sitting and enjoying the nice placements they've got.
Whitlock on Diaz, still trying to make a move on Whitlock here, my bad. It's very much been a race of attrition so far, as, you know, drivers aren't used to these cars yet. It's the first race we've ever done in this series, so they're still trying to figure it out. They haven't had that long practice time. Also, it's the first series to use open setups here. Usually the Formula 3 and the Cup Series are both fixed. This is open setups, and you have to wonder if any of these drivers who are having issues might have just whiffed on their setup really badly and are going to have to deal with the consequences for the next 45 minutes. Diaz tries to make a move on Whitlock, gains some time there, and he's going to trail him really close as we start to head down this long straightaway. And here's the battle for 4th right now. Skinker, Wallet, and Moody back-to-back. It's 2 Ball State cars and Wallet in the sandwich right there in 5th. Wallet's been sizing up Skinker for multiple laps now. He's been there for about 3 or 4 laps, still hasn't been able to make the move. However, Moody is fast. He's gained some time. We saw him about 2 seconds back earlier. He's got that gap down within a second now. Gonna try and look to make a move on Wallet and see if he can get that done the next couple laps here. Moody keeps it close behind as we head down into this corner. Gap back over a second, kind of fluctuating a little. It's kind of equidistant there between Skinker, Wallet, and Moody, all of them trying to do battle with the others.
Yeah, and you know, when we talk about it, we've already seen multiple cars go off into the dirt, so making a move, you got to do it cleanly. You got to do it without spinning yourself out, because so far these cars have looked kind of a little hard to handle. And, you know, again, we're talking about cars that people aren't used to. It's the first time that they've driven them here in this league on open setups, so you're getting used to multiple things at once with a little practice. It's just going to be a learning process.
See Edwin Onofre here, the onboard. It's Lucas Moody in the onboard. He's trying to chase down Jason Wallet. This is that big long straight, and we're seeing maybe a slipstream opportunity down here. We saw that a little bit in the Whitlock battle, as Moody really late on the brakes there to try and challenge Wallet. That's one of the better passing zones on this racetrack. It's a very long straight into a nice quick right, quick left-hander, and that results in some good passing opportunities if you're able to get up behind the car in front and try to make a move on the braking zone there. Moody continuing to close the gap. Down into the corner. Can't get it. A little offline there, but he makes it work. He's trying to go for a bit of a wider exit. Not really working on Wallet, but that gap continues to come down. It was at a second about a lap ago. Down under half a second here. Still trying to make some time and maybe make a pass here coming up soon. As Wallet himself looks ahead, he's looking at Bradley Skinker, Moody's teammate. He's gaining ground on him. They're all trying to size each other up and find a spot they can make a move here for 4th.
Yeah, And this 4th position is really the battle that we're looking at. Multiple cars sitting really within 6 seconds of each other, even though Onofre isn't super close on top of them. 5 seconds, still a gap that they can make up for this 4th battle. And there it is. Ooh, a nice little move.
He's
But
really sending it right now. He doesn't care about tire wear. He doesn't care about spinning it out. He wants this position on Jason Wallet, and he's going to try to get it. Got a second there as we go back to Ryan Whitlock and Luis Diaz here. Diaz still holding them tight. He's been on that bumper for multiple laps now, but hasn't been able to find a way around. As we head back down the long front straight into this passing opportunity, he's going to try and look at the inside. He's not really going to get there. They go through the grass, and there's contact between Luis Diaz and Ryan Whitlock, both of them into the dirt. Whitlock is around. You're going to see Palterman get around here, and that is going to be devastating for him. He's going to be hoping he doesn't have that much damage here. See if he can make it back around. Looks to be driving all right still. See the replay here on board. He guesses side by side, overshoots it a little, and the grass just turns him around. Drops the tire, and he's a passenger at that point. Ryan Whitlock, not with a good time there. We saw him, he started, I believe, on the front row up in 2nd place, and this track is treacherous. You see him now running all the way back in 11th, potentially being challenged by Alexander Diamond here coming up soon. Diamond might have had an off back there as well. You see him dropping down the leaderboard rapidly, getting passed by Burl. Oh, it's also had a spin. Wallet's out of the picture as well now. He's back to 7th. He's dropped behind Edwin Onofre. And now it's a Ball State battle for 4th between Bradley Skinker and Lucas Moody. A lot of attrition this race. We're going to get a replay here of the Jason Wallet spin, and we're going to see what happened to him. Ooh, that is not ideal right there. Sends it around. Ooh, almost rejoining in the path of Edwin Onofre. Watch that back. Yeah, he just locks it up and spins it, trying to avoid hitting the back of Bradley Skinker there. Lucas Moody manages to make it through. He'll stay in 5th. And like we were saying, this is really becoming a race of attrition. You've seen Wallet go around. You've seen Diamond go around multiple times. Burrell's been around. Whitlock's been around. Kill Davidson, who's currently running 3rd, we saw spin out earlier. These are all cars that started up front, first couple positions, and they've rapidly dropped through the field because of this new car. They're still struggling to drive it. They're struggling to get their feet under them. And that's making for a pretty entertaining race here with a lot of attrition as Moody continues to try to make the move on his teammate Bradley Skinker. He's got some speed in that car right now.
yeah, we talked about it before, but I'll say it again. The most consistent player in this race, Alif, sitting up in that 1st position. And the last time we checked in, 7-second gap. Now we're sitting at 10 seconds, just continuously driving faster than everyone else on the track. And it is such a nice feeling to be that far ahead right now.
Ball State domination here. I mean, they've got, I believe, 4 cars in the top 5 right now between Alif, Davidson, Skinker, and Moody. They're putting on a clinic in this race. And I mean, they've got a very good road program over there at Ball State. I mean, they're always up front in Formula C. Anytime the Cup Series goes to a road course, you're going to see Lucas Moody, Alif always towards the front. And they're showing that here in the prototypes. It's a new series, but it's not changing their domination as Moody continues to try to make this move on his teammate heading down the downhill.
Another thing to consider is the fact that this is open setup. They might be running with the best setup out of anyone else in this race, all sharing it. It could be a thing.
Ball State, I mean, we know how hard they work on these series, and when you got 4 cars in the top 5 like this, clearly they're doing something right. So that setup, they've probably hit on something really good here. And, I mean, maybe the opposite of that, you see the Clemson cars, Burrow and Stockner, 12th and 16th. You've seen them go off a couple times now. They seem to be having the exact opposite time. So you got to wonder which of these schools have hit on the setup and are up front like the Ball State cars, and which of them might be having some problems right now, especially as this race starts to develop, the tires start to wear, and everything kind of gets weaker.
When we do get to this point where tires, you know, kind of fall off, start to wear, we're really going to see less of some of these spin outs, hopefully, as people are sitting on the warms. They're taking it a bit more easy into the corners, not trying to make a move. But as I say that, Onofre Almost.
Moody, he's trying. He's been there. We see him every time he goes down into that last chicane. He's been sending it in there, whether it's on Wallet or whether it's on Skinker. He wants that position, and he knows that's a corner he's good in, and he's going to try to make it happen as we head back down the long straightaway here. Coming through these final few corners, we're going to move out towards the front straight. Nice on-track view there as Skinker, Moody, Onofre comes by. Very cinematic shots we have here at VIR tonight for the CIL Prototype Challenge. Skinker and Moody continuing to fly past, and Onofre, he's gaining some ground behind him as that battle starts to develop, and they're getting a bit more racy in front of him. Onofre's slowly made up progress. We saw him about 5 seconds back earlier while the battle with Wallet was ongoing, and he's closed the gap. He's only about 1.8 behind Lucas Moody here. He's going to try and insert himself into this fight and maybe break up some of this Ball State domination there for the University of North Texas, as Moody continues to be on the bumper of Skinker as we head around this tight chicane.
And with Moody threatening Skinker so much, you're going to hope if you're driving, sitting there on that back bumper for most of these laps, especially coming off of the straightaways, maybe you're going to get Skinker to overdrive it just a little bit too much and get that pass, because look at how close. Even on the straights, Moody is just holding on Skinker's bumper. As we see here, you know, he talked about Onofre moving up through here, and he's going to insert himself into this little fight here for 4th place pretty soon.
I mean, you saw those previous lap time comparisons there. Onofre over a full second faster than Lucas Moody on that last lap, and Skinker's running about the same place Moody is. He's going to really try to make this a fight and try to get around not one, but both state cars for 4th. And that's why Moody is showing as much aggression as he is. He might feel like he's being held up by Skinker there, and he wants to try and get his way around to try and run away from Onofre as he gains on him. Look at that, 3 cars in a line as we head down the front straightaway here.
Yeah, and he's looking to make the move, but he just doesn't have that exit speed that he's wants so far, but he's
sends
sending
it up the inside as we come down through the hairpin here, and he's gonna make it, but he slides a bit wide. Skinker tries to get to the inside there on a switchback, but he thinks better of it, and he's gonna settle for 5th. And now the battle's gonna be Edwin Onofre on Bradley Skinker, and can he get around him for 5th? And we're gonna see if Lucas Moody's able to pull away from the 2 of them. Onofre 2 seconds faster on that last lap than Bradley Skinker was. Skinker's not pulling over, though. He's still right in there behind Lucas Moody and still trying to put up a fight for this position. And Onofre is sitting behind the 2 of them, waiting and watching, thinking maybe he can make a move or maybe he can pressure Skinker into making a mistake and getting that spot.
So far, Skinker just holding it down, hasn't really done anything too crazy so far. Did try and set it alongside for a second, but I mean, this battle has been going on for a couple laps now. I imagine tires starting to get a little burned, especially from Onofre with these pushes that he's been doing.
Onofre's definitely pushing them, and you have to think that's going to make both Skinker and Moody try a little harder here to pull away. And Onofre is sizing him up. We're heading down the downhill here, and he is right on the bumper of Bradley Skinker, trying to make this pass work. And you got to think, if he's that much faster, what's he going to have for Lucas Moody? Moody's trying to get away, but it's not really working too well. I mean, you see, last lap times right here, Moody and Skinker, they're battling each other, and they're both noticeably about 2 seconds slower. As we head through here, Onofre's lap times, he was running about in the 132s. He's getting slowed up by Bradley Skinker, and that's put him back down at about 134. And you can see right there why Leaf has pulled so far away. I mean, he's running the fastest laps in the field by at least a couple tenths, and that's allowed him to keep that 11 or 12 second gap that he's got going right now. As Wallet tries to find his way back into this battle as well, you see him appearing in the background there, trying to catch Onofre.
Yeah, the way this is playing out as Onofre hugging Skinker's bumper there, coming out of that corner there onto this straight. Walt's going to get a chance to catch up here because, you know, Skinker and Onofre have been kind of slowing each other down as Skinker trying to defend the position.
Skinker's around! Oh no, Edwin Onofre gets the spot, and Bradley Skinker of Ball State University dropping multiple spots there. You see both Drexel University cars get around him, and that slows up Onofre as well as he's lost that gap to Moody. He looks about a second and a half back now. We're going to see a replay of that Skinker accident here. We're on board. Here's the out-of-car camera, and he just misses the corner. Tries to send it in a bit too fast. Car a bit unstable under braking as these tires start to wear, and you see him go around there, losing 2 spots in the process. 3 spots in the process. My bad. Yeah, right in front of Onofre. Good job to dodge that, but he's going to lose a lot of time to Lucas Moody there that he's now going to have to pick up. And he's also, and if Skinker wants back up there, he's going to have to get around a combo of Drexel cars trying to stop him.
Yeah, and you know what? It just happens sometimes when you're sitting there focused on the car that's sitting in your rear view mirror on your bumper for 2 full laps. Sometimes you might just overdrive a corner, lock it up, and just throw it in a little spin. And it's unfortunate for Skinker, running so well so far, got advantage with some of those.
And here we see Luis Diaz around. My bad. Luis Diaz just made a pass on Jason Wallet there, and he's going to try and get away from him really quickly. Wow. Shot out of a cannon is Luis Diaz. Wallet back there. So, my bad. That's not a Drexel car. He's just got the same paint scheme as one. Wallet's going to sit back there and Stefan to try to see if he can gain back ground on him, but Diaz is pulling away quick. He's already about, looks like half a second in front of Wallet just from that pass we saw a couple corners ago, and there's Wallet around. Second time this race we've seen him backwards, and now he's going to lose that spot right back to Bradley Skinker. Race of attrition, we're telling you. Here we see Jason Wallet on board. Yeah, I mean, that corner has been very problematic this race. We saw Wallet off there. We saw Skinker around there a couple laps ago. We saw Diamond and Burrow go off one after the other in that corner. That has been where the accidents are occurring today, and that's been where a lot of the action's been. As we head back down the downhill, and we go over to Edwin Onofre now, who is faster than Lucas Moody and trying to make the move. Onofre, actually the fastest car on track that time around right now in 5th, even faster than our leader, Muhammad Alif.
Yeah, and that might speak to maybe Onofre's setup. Wasn't pushing too hard early, but as we go through it, we're sitting on lap 18. He's been catching up to people driving fastest laps. So, hey, and he's passed one Ball State car already. Maybe he's going to get the next one here.
Yeah, he's looking on Lucas Moody through the S's. Over about 2/3 of the way through this race now, and this is where I think the aggression is going to really start heating up. There's no points on the line here, so this is for fun. So we might see some drivers make some moves that they might not otherwise make, and we'll see if that maybe includes Onofre, as with 2/3 through the race, he is trying to chase down Lucas Moody here and get this position. Good run through that corner. Pretty good exit there, and that's going to give him a good run down this big, long straightaway. Continues to size him up coming down here. It's going to be a quick little series of corners here, and we'll see if he makes some progress. We've seen this corner be a bit of a trouble spot as well. Saw an accident earlier in the race there where saw a car go around, try to someone on the inside and lose it and take both of them out. So you got to be careful there that you're not doing that. Keeping it on track, not trying to take somebody else out. As we see pit stops. Car in the pits, that's going to be Lucas Moody. And we'll see if anyone comes down with him. First stop of the race here.
Does look like there was already another car sitting there.
There you go. Yeah, oh yeah, you can see everyone's going to start taking here in the background. Lucas Moody's in a couple cars further back through the field. Going to start making their pit stops. I believe Skinker has come down with him. Esteban Munoz as well. And this is where the strategy starts to heat up. See, Alif's still out on the racetrack. So we're going to see maybe undercutting the leader by a couple laps here is going to be what you need to get these positions back. Alif's still out on track. He's not stopped yet. A couple cars up front here haven't stopped yet. Halterman, Wallet, Onofre, Burrell, all still out on track. And we'll see, does the early pit stop win out? Maybe get some fresher tires on the car and try to work from there? Or does later pit stop win out, where you might be able to take a little less fuel and you might have a little more tire left to the end? As Alif comes in now, the leader is into the pits. Still the third fastest car on the racetrack that time around, but he feels it's time to come, get some new tires, get some fuel in that car, and get it ready for the rest of this race. And you see the big gap behind him that he's created there to the next car coming down pit road. That's really been how he's been able to pull away from this race and really just not make it a contest. He was about 12 seconds out in front prior to the pit stop, and he's been making it work for him pretty well. Hopefully no mistakes here on this pit stop, and he'll get right back out there to lead the race some more.
when you're running that fast, you might feel comfortable to take this type of pit stop. Even when you're so far away from people, it gives yourself so much confidence to just be able to come into pit, not even feel threatened about your first place going to be taken away because you know that you're going to come out there with fresh tires. You were already running faster than everyone else. You're going to get back up there anyways.
I mean, you see the gap behind him. We saw a Leaf come out of the pits about 10 seconds ago. And Hunter Hadesteed's second car that followed him in is only coming out now. I mean, he's got a huge gap out there at the front of the field, as I believe that will complete green flag pit stops, everyone making their scheduled tire stop there. And yeah, it's going to be a Leaf in first, Hunter Hadesteed at second, Onofre fourth, Wallet fifth, Halterman, pretty good pit stop there. We saw him back maybe around 8th or 9th. He's moved up to 6th. Moody dropping back to 8th. Oh, Moody's just shot up to 4th. Never mind. Jason Wallen coming out of the pits here. Big pit cycle. You see a lot of cars coming down here for these stops. Still a bunch of cars in there getting their service done, getting their tires, getting their fuel, getting out. As Moody's moved around Skinker as of now. Here's Clint Halterman. Definitely saw him gain a couple spots on that pit stop. He was a bit lower down the order before. There's a car way off in the distance into the outside wall. Big accident there. Esteban Munoz with a huge shunt into the wall. That might end his day with how big that one was. Wow. Yeah, locks it up. Can't get it turned. Clobbers the tire barrier there right in front of the stands. And he's going to tow it. That will be the end of Esteban Munoz's race on about 2/3 through this race here, lap 20. Not how you want it to go. Cold tires right after the pit stop. You got to take it easy, and he just sent it a little too hard as Clint Halterman tries to get around Bradley Skinker here for 5th.
And we saw a bunch of accidents at the start of this race. We're going to be seeing them again. Like you said, cold tires are the killer here. It's happened in almost every turn at this point, but you just got to take it easy, let them warm up for 3 laps, 2 laps, and then start making that push back up for those positions.
It's going to be a pretty thin window here where your tires are fully heated up and grippy before the race ends. So you're going to want to use that like 6-7 lap period where you've got these tires and you're going to want to push them all the way. I mean, you see the lap times picking up here from these cars, from Halterman, from Skinker. These lap times are going to start to come down as we head to the end of this race, and that's going to make this really interesting. Big lockup from Clint Halterman on the right front as he tries to find his way around Bradley Skinker, heading through the S's.
Halterman right on his bumper. He's looking for the position. He wants it. He wants that 5th place.
Yeah, he's trying to interrupt the Ball State sandwich here. I mean, still 4 of the top 5 positions. Hunter Hadesteed, I believe, is the other. And he's going to try and interrupt that. He wants 5th place. It's been a bit of a comeback drive for him through the field. And he's going to try and make it work for him. We see some losers on pit strategy as well. I mean, you see Wallet drop back to 8th. Onofre, we saw challenging Lucas Moody up there in 4th. Bad pit stop for him, and he comes out 9th all the way back by Andrew Burrell, who moved up a couple spots on that stop. Skinker continues to try and pull away from Halterman. He's got Luis Diaz behind him, about a couple seconds back there. Not really posing too much of a threat yet, but if he can continue to get some time, he might be able to make something happen. We saw him be fast before the pit stop, but he was involved in that accident earlier with Ryan Whitlock, and we'll see if he can turn it around after that. It's been a recovery drive for him as well. It's been a recovery drive for a lot of the drivers in the field, as is the case when I believe over half the field has had some type of accident in this race.
The good news is, even with the accidents that we've had, only one has taken out someone else with them. Everyone else kind of gone on their own, which has been, it's always a good thing to see that type of driving happen.
Yeah, you don't want to see these big accidents. It's not fun. Clint Halterman continuing to size up Skinker. You saw him get really close to the bumper there in the braking zone a couple pointers earlier, but he wasn't able to get alongside and try to actually make the move. He's really sending it. You see him all over these curves, doing everything he can to try to make this pass. Like, he's catching air through some of these curves. He wants that position, and he is driving for his life right now to try and get it on 5th place, Bradley Skinker. Fun to watch him work, try to hit pretty much every curb on this racetrack to try and get an advantage. as we're watching from the rear cam on Skinker, looking backwards at Halterman as he works his magic. Oh, look at that, all over the curb, nearly off the track. He is driving on the limit as there's a crash further back. Not sure who that is, but someone with a big either spin or a lockup back there in that corner.
I believe that might have been Diaz.
Might have been. Yeah, oh yeah, that is Luis Diaz going around. Gets it back going fairly quickly there. A lot of tire smoke as he probably burns those right rear tires pretty good. Those rear tires pretty good doing the spin, followed by the immediate full throttle to get back going. That's definitely not what you want for the sake of tire life, especially this late in the race when you've got to be pushing all the time. Battles back on Halterman. Lost a little bit of time on Skinker over these last couple corners, but he's going to try and get it all back right here. Bit offline there, and that's not going to help him at all as we head back through this quick left-hander. It's a very fast, it's a very flowy racetrack. You know, there's your braking zones where you're able to make passes, but a lot of this is very much a technique racetrack where you're only able to gain pretty small amounts at a time as the corners are pretty fast. You're not able to get those big braking zone gains in many portions of the track, but that's where the passing zones are. So Halterman's got to try and keep it close so hopefully he can get to that braking zone and try to make a big move on Skinker, as we saw a couple cars do earlier.
And Halterman, just a consistent force here, has been driving pretty well, sending it through these curves. Actually got some air time, had a little bit of a lockup there, but is driving honestly relatively well so far, and he's just keeping on Skinker's bumper.
See Diaz almost go off again there at the back. Halterman is really trying to make this pass happen. He's driving harder than I think we've seen anybody drive all race trying to get this pass done on Skinker. He wants that 5th place gladly. It's said it's not a points race, but it is a pride race. And if you can get a top 5 to start off your season, you will absolutely take that any day of the week. And that's what Clint Halterman's trying to do right now. He wants to get that confidence up going into the regular season here next week.
Yeah, even though he's been catching him on some of these corners. Look at the speed that Skinker just got there out of that corner. Absolutely gone on the straightaway. And, you know, that might speak to some of the Ball State cars. They might just be able to get a ton of this exit speed as Alif already so far away from just everyone else on the field.
Yeah, it's going to be a real fun fight to the finish here between Skinker and Halterman. I think they're running pretty similar lap times right now. But Halterman's definitely going to try and get closer. He's faster in these corners, but as you said, Skinker's doing really good on exit of a lot of these corners, especially some of these higher speed ones, and that's allowing him to create a bit of a gap to Clint Halterman right now. Coming down to the end of this race, it's only about 5 laps to go here. We're estimating based on time. And that's going to make this a pretty fun ending. You got the battle between Skinker and Halterman, as Halterman locks it up pretty bad again there. That's the second time we've seen him lock it up through that corner over the last couple laps. He is on the limit right now.
Yeah, Halterman there with a pretty big lockup, but actually saves Skinker, also dropping a bit of a lockup himself and slowing his exit speed, so Halterman able to catch right back up.
He's going to try and maybe make a move on the inside, see if he can get a look going right here. He is looking. And you see, maybe looking a little further back right now, you're going to see Luis Diaz in 7th ran the fastest lap on the track last time around. So he's going to try his best. 1.3 faster than Halterman. He's going to see if he can make it up to these guys, as Halterman had a really bad exit through that last corner. And that's going to allow Skinker to pull away for now. These guys kind of in a pack of their own here. You see Moody faster than the Skinker. Pretty much that entire top 4 as we see another huge lockup from Clint Halterman. And that would be news to Diaz's ears if Diaz didn't also spin out there coming a couple corners ago. That is going to make it much harder on Clint Halterman as he's off again there through the S's. He has not had a good couple laps, and that is culminating right now. He's lucky he hasn't got anyone behind him as Diaz drops down the order after an accident. That's going to give him a lot of space to work with Wallet still about at least 10 seconds back. You can't even see him back there in the distance. But now he's going to be, he's going to be a couple seconds off Skinker, and he's going to have all the work to do to make that back up.
Yeah, Wallet gaining a nice little position there as we see Alif far away from anyone else. Really, who's threatening him on the field? He's in his own zone, driving this course, enjoying it as much as possible.
See him, he's all over these curves though. There's 5 to go, and he may have a very comfortable lead. I think we've seen him be faster in second and third pretty much every lap of this race, but that has not hurt his drive one bit. He is still on the limit through here. All the curves, taking everything as fast as he can, still pushing so much to try and get these positions. Even when he's got a huge lead, he doesn't want to risk it. He doesn't want to take any chances. He wants to pull away, and he wants to dominate this race, as he's doing. Good lap for Edwin Onofre back there. Was the fastest car that time around. We mentioned that earlier. Onofre's had a very fast car this race, but he doesn't quite seem to have it where he wants to. We saw him have a really bad pit stop that cost him a lot of time. We saw him struggle to get past, I believe it was Lucas Moody and Bradley Skinker earlier, where he was just sitting behind him for laps and couldn't ever get it going. Pretty fast when he's on his own, as he has an off right there, but he's been struggling to try and make some of these passes, and that bad pit stop has not helped him, as he's currently running in 9th, trying to catch up to the wounded car of Lucas Diaz. Luis Diaz, my bad. You see Burrow back there in the background, maybe size up Onofre and see if he can get something going here late. Onofre, I mean, we've seen him off. He had a pretty bad lap last time around, and we're going to see if Burrow can maybe try to make something happen.
Yeah, Burrow driving, you know, a second faster, about a little over than Onofre on some of these laps, hoping to maybe gain the distance as now we jump to this battle for 7th here. Jason Wallet, Luis Diaz.
Diaz blinking the lights there, about a second back, trying to intimidate Jason Wallet maybe into making a mistake down this straightaway. That's going to be a pretty fun battle here. I mean, we saw Diaz, he was really fast up until he had that issue that allowed Wallet to get past him. But he's gotten right back up to the bumper of Wallet, and now he's trying to make another move as we see him lock up through there and drop a ton of spots all over again. He's going to have his work cut out for him to get back up here in the last 4 laps, but if he's able to unlock the speed that we've seen him have in portions of this race, he might be able to do it.
Yeah, Diaz braking so much more later than Wallet there, able to catch up and use so much more speed. I mean, he's been driving good for most of this race. Obviously, just had those 2 little lockups that sent him off in the corner, but we got a few cars who are pretty close here.
Yeah, you see, it's been Ball State domination at the front, but it's getting a lot closer further back. You see Wallet and Luis Diaz here. I believe they're coming up on a lap car, that is. Yes, I believe that might be Whitlock there. I'm not entirely sure. But they're catching a lap car, and they are going to see if they can negotiate that. Wallet's going to want to get around him as quick as possible. Wallet's maybe want to get around him, use him as a pick here to try and have Diaz lose time, but Diaz is going to want Wallet to struggle. Diaz is going to want Wallet to get stuck right in behind that lap car so maybe he can put a move up in the inside, because he's right on his bumper going down this big, long straightaway where he might be able to get some slipstream. On board here, and you see just how close these cars are. About 3 laps to go, we're estimating, in this race, and he is going to maybe try a move here. We've seen some accidents occur going side by side into here, but he's able to keep it straight. Trying to cut back, he's not going to get there, and he's still right on his bumper. Good exit out of that corner, but he's not able to take advantage because Wallet's in front of him. And that lap car up there is going to play a factor in this as well, as Wallet starts to slowly catch up to him.
Yeah, Wallet there in that corner. Almost lost it for a second, held it though. Kept it together, got a little less exit speed because of Diaz's move. And look, Diaz is just going to need to try more of that. Hopefully not full burn his tires, but we're sitting on an estimated about 3 laps to go. So he's got to make his moves now, and he's got to make them fast.
Yeah, you know Diaz right now is driving with everything he's got. I mean, his tires aren't in great shape, we probably think, after that big lockup and spin he had earlier. But he is still right on the back of Jason Wallet. It's not hurting him at all in this battle right now. As we estimate 2 laps to go, this is going to be a really fierce end of this race for 7th place. Through the S's now, headed back up the hill, on board with Luis Diaz, chasing Jason Wallet around this racetrack. Dropping a bit of spots there, but we've seen him be really late on the brakes, and that comes into play again. Going from way back to right up on his bumper in about a corner. Nearly goes off there, but he's able to keep it on the track. It is going to hurt his long run down this straightaway, though, which is going to allow Wallet to pull away a little bit for now.
Yeah, and you want all the corner exit speed that you can get. You get it, you hit someone, right on their bumper, you're sitting there coming out of that exit, you're going to be able to push it through, and that's what Luis Diaz needs right now. He needs to sit on the back of Wallet and just get that better corner exit than him.
Yeah, meanwhile, we see Edwin Onofre a couple seconds back there. He's probably hoping this lap car plays a factor. He's sitting back there about 2 seconds back saying, please, please break in front of the leaders. He wants to try and make it up, but he doesn't currently have the lap times to do so. Only about a tenth faster that time. As here's the move. Diaz on Wallet as we come to 2 to go, or the white flag, my bad, and that's going to give him the position. Wallet's going to try and chase him around for this last lap and see if he can get that back. Maybe using that lap car of Whitlock up there as a bit of a pick to try and make the move work.
Diaz sending it so hard into some of these corners. We almost saw him lost it there. Again, kicking up some dirt, kicking up some grass. He just needs to have this stick. He's got the move done. He made it. Now it's all about the defense.
And you're not worrying about anyone in front of you. Clint Halterman's way too far ahead to be a factor. You're worrying about this lap car, and you're worrying about Jason Wallet, and those are the only two things in your mind on the racetrack right now. No one else matters at this point. You just got to get it around quicker than them. As he is right up on the back bumper of that lapper, but so is Jason Wallet. He's off the track, and Jason Wallet's going to have a huge run down this straightaway. That might play a factor in this. See, R. Muhammad Alif's taking the win as we watch this battle for 7th develop between Luis Diaz and Jason Wallet. Gonna try and send it down here. You see him try to look up the inside. He's not quite there yet. Alif ran the fastest lap I've seen him run all race on that last lap, by the way. He was trying. Diaz and Wallet continuing down the downhill. Wallet's not quite there, and the lap car's far enough ahead that it's not gonna matter. Luis Diaz takes 7th. Wallet takes 8th. See Onofre in 9th. Alif takes the inaugural win in the CIL College Prototype Challenge in the Clash here. Doesn't get any points for it, but he does get a win for pride. You see Hunter Hannity pushing them from behind, 2nd place finisher, congratulating him on that win. Believe 3rd is Cale Davidson, also from Ball State. Ball State rounds out the top 5 with Lucas Moody in 4th and Bradley Skinker in 5th. Clint Halterman 6th for UNC Charlotte. Lucas Diaz 7th. Wallet for Drexel University 8th. Edwin Onofre 9th. Burrell 10th. Wilms 11th. And Diamond 12th. Mark Turek 13th for the Penn College of Technology. Esteban Munoz 14th. Aiken Lamar for Howard Community College 15th. Ryan Whitlock, we saw him struggle all race. He'll finish 16th. And Nick Stockner does not finish in 17th for Clemson. There you go. Yeah, R. Muhammad Alif with just a dominating drive there. It was really, he was just checked out that whole race. He took the lead early, and he never looked back.
Just absolutely sent it. Even from the start, we talked about it. Starting on that pole position, he got away with it. He was so far ahead that the pit stop was inconsequential to him. He went into the pit in first and came out back in first. That is some ridiculous driving.
I mean, we saw him come in, and I kept waiting for someone to leave behind him, and 15 seconds goes by, everyone's still at the pit, and Alif is just gone. Dominating performance from him today. And we're going to see if we can maybe get him in the booth here. Going to get to talk to Alif, Hannity, and Cale Davidson, our top 3, once they are out of the car and ready to go. Yeah. There's no student-alumni split in this series, as we do in some of our other leagues. So were this the points race, everyone would receive the same point scale, I should say. There won't be any separation for students like R. Muhammad Alif or alumni like Hunter Hannity in 2nd. Great race there. I think we saw a lot of action. It was really a race of attrition there. I mean, you saw almost every car in the field, it felt like, was off the track at some point. So Wallet off, Burrow off. All these drivers you thought would be contenders. Davidson had a spin. So many drivers that we started up front and we thought would be real threats to win this race coming apart of their own undoing.
Yeah, and that really fits the theme of, I guess, this first race. It was just like you put it, the battle of attrition, just making sure you're driving carefully, you're not over pushing on those cold tires. We saw it happen after that first pit stop. More people just went off than were on warms. And again, we talked about it in terms of the fact that it's the inaugural. We're here more to get into the groove of things. It's not necessarily for points. It's for pride. But you're gonna take this as a learning experience. You're gonna put it forward when we do go to Indy, and from there we're gonna really get into some more hardcore level driving.
Yeah, we got our Muhammad Alif here ready to go. We're gonna interview the winner of this race. Dominating drive from him. We got him waiting in the booth.
31-9.
Alif, congrats on the wins tonight, man. You were dominant that whole race. I mean, took the lead, started on pole, took the lead early, and just completely ran away with the thing. I mean, how does it feel to dominate a race in that fashion?
Hey, thanks, guys. Yeah, I mean, preseason, just wanted to test the caddy, see where the pace was, just in time for race one. So, yeah, super happy with that. Super happy with our team's performance as well. Yeah, and yeah, looking forward to the first round in Indy.
I mean, we saw, I believe, 4 out of the top 5 there at the end of that race was Ball State. Did y'all practice? Did y'all hit on the setup? I mean, what was the secret there to getting that far in the lead?
Honestly, we're just kind of I think progressing along from last season, from our Formula 4 championship, and then now it's on to Super Formula and Collegiate prototype. So yeah, just constantly working hard, just working on the details, devils in the details. So yeah, just all in that, and yeah, just always pushing.
Yeah, and one last question here. We saw you run really well in Formula C, dominate that series last year, move into a new car this year with the Super Formula, and you still went out and won a race in the Clash in the duels there. How does that translate over to the prototype car? Is your success there? Do you think it's going to be able to translate over for this season as well?
Oh yeah, the prototypes are a complete different beast to drive. You know, it's the way the way you drive the car, the way you extract the lap time is completely different compared to a single seater, obviously. So, and then you have all these other stuff. You know, anti-roll bars. You have to manage your ERS, your electronic deployments, and then on top of that, it's open setup for all of us. So it just adds a different layer in terms of finding pace, finding lap time, and I think that's where it's really gonna be won this season if whoever gets the setups right.
Congrats on the win. That was a very dominant performance there from our race winner, our Muhammad Alif. Congratulations.
Thanks, guys. Cheers.
Coming up next in the booth, we have our second place finisher in this race, the alumni from Clemson, Hunter Hadesty. Hey, Hunter.
Hey.
Saw second place this race, kind of a drive away from Alif, but you were pretty comfortable there in second as well. This is the first race of a new series. How does it feel to drive these prototypes?
Really good. I am really looking forward to the season and especially the longer 90-minute races. Yeah, very excited. Good to see a lot of variation in the makes.
Yeah, we saw a lot of pitch strategy. We saw a lot of car strategy, setup strategy. Feels a lot more strategy focused in this series compared to some of the other ones we have on the schedule. Do you think it's going to be some of these races maybe coming more down to strategy versus stuff like Cup and Formula C?
Certainly hope so. There's a lot you can play around with on, especially with the battery settings, tack, balanced, or build. But then also the tires. Do you have time to take fronts or rears? Do you take all of them? So all those kind of play into it. And yeah, like I was saying, really looking forward to the rest of the season.
Yeah. This was kind of like just like a huge race of attrition with a lot of cars having incidents. But we saw you be pretty consistent up there. Is that kind of the key to this car, you think? Just kind of that consistency and that keeping it on track?
I am shocked I did not lose it at some point during this race because during practice I was struggling with it. So yeah, very, very happy not to have spun at some point.
Yeah,
There was a couple of hairy
yeah.
corners, but overall, yeah, pretty smooth.
There was a lot of cars around. It was a very hectic race, but it was a very fun one to watch up here at the booth as well.
It's a very tough track for the GTP cars. I'll say
Yeah,
that.
it's tight, it's narrow. Do you think some of these like future tracks on the schedule, stuff like Indy or anything, could be a little easier for this car? Or do you think it's gonna continue the difficulty as we get into the season here?
I certainly think so. I think especially the bigger tracks where this car will really shine.
Yeah, gotcha. You got anyone you want to shout out here on the broadcast?
Just shout outs to Orange Wheel Racing.
All right, that's our second place finisher, Hunter Hadesty. Congrats.
Thank you.
And third place finisher tonight, another car from Ball State University. We got Cale Davidson in the booth with us now.
Before you guys crashed.
Hey, Cale.
Hello.
This is the booth. We saw just domination from Ball State this race, right? You got first, third, fourth, fifth. Like, y'all were all over that top 5. How does it feel to win like that as a team?
Well, kind of coming back from our Formula series, it's not necessarily too common. We were kind of hoping that we could get a Ball State 1, 2, 3, 4 again because I think we had one of those last year, but we've had a couple 1, 2, 3s, and then we like to run the cars up in the front pack. But obviously, with the new series, it's definitely new adaptations, new challenges. So just trying to get in the groove of everything.
Yeah, I mean, it was very dominant performance. You didn't quite get that top 5 there with Hunter kind of finishing second, but just a dominant performance. Do you think you kind of hit on a setup, or do you think that's something that's going to give you an advantage as we head into the season?
Yeah, obviously. So I'm more comfortable in the Porsche that I've ran. So as you can see, all my other teammates were running the Cadillac out there, and I knew the one thing that I was kind of struggling with because we were running 2 different setups, 2 different cars. And the corner that I lost it on, the car was just a lot looser in there. So I just have to basically adapt it and then figure out setup changes, get used to the car, just to kind of prepare myself for the season coming up.
Yeah, we saw you lose it there. This was very much a race of attrition. I mean, we saw cars off in pretty much every corner of this racetrack at some point. How do you kind of like recover from that spin, get it settled back down, get your head back in the game, and finish third still after all that happened?
Yeah, so kind of after that spin, I kind of saw Hunter coming up, and I knew he was definitely faster through that sector in the first place. So before that, I was just kind of keeping my head down. Alif and I were kind of like, okay, let's try to pull away. And then obviously we're in different cars, different setups. And then I started following Alif's line through that corner, and then I lost it from there. So obviously learning that taking that line did not work. So I basically had to resort back to my other line. Even though it wasn't as fast, I basically just used all the rest of the track to start gaining more time while I would still kind of be safe around the slower corners where the car was unpredictable. So I kind of used that just to make myself faster throughout.
And do you think like getting that big like team win and that individual success as well in this race is going to set you up well for the rest of the season? Like I know this isn't a points race, but the confidence you gain here, is that going to carry into Indy, Spa, Daytona, everything we've got coming up in the next few weeks?
Um, as for confidence and boost, I don't necessarily think that has any sort of effect on what our overall goal for the series is. We're gonna race each other hard. I think the only thing that, and I can probably vouch for my teammates behind me as well, but I mean with the basically the race that the Leafs put up, we want to be running up there, so we kind of know what we need to work on. So we're gonna use that and basically push ourselves even harder, no matter what the outcome of this race was.
Gotcha. So watch out for Ball State going into the next couple. You got anyone you want to shout out here on the broadcast?
Yeah, I want to shout out our esports director, BK and Dan Marino, for making this all possible. And then shout out to Indy Hood Rats for basically sponsoring my rig and then sponsoring the car this race. And then also shout out to my mom and my dad. And then, like I said last night in the Formula booth, shout out to my grandma who's had a healthy recovery. So that's good for her after her surgery.
Great to hear that. Third place finisher, Cale Davidson on a great race for Ball State.
Thank you.
Congratulations. Well, that's the end of our race here tonight in the CIL debut of the College Prototype Series. You got any thoughts on this, Felix?
Like not we've covered it mostly as it's gone on. It was a learning experience for most people, as we've heard from our first, second, and third place finishers. They're gonna be better next week, and I'm excited to see it. I'm ready. I'm here to see them drive at Indy.
Yeah, it's going to be a very fun series, I think, as we continue to head into these future races coming up on the schedule. I mean, we got Indy, we got Spa, Daytona. That's going to be an endurance race at Daytona twice as long. a lot of classic tracks are coming up here on the schedule, and I think that's going to make this really interesting and make this series really fun as well. I think we're going to have a great time here as the season progresses. Our Muhammad Alif, your winner here tonight from Virginia International Raceway, the first race of the College Prototype Series, brand new series in the CIL, a third series here to add to our Cup offerings on Mondays and our Formula College offerings on Wednesdays. And that's just going to make this even better as we head in. 3 leagues, 3 series, 1 league is going to make this even better as we continue.
Yeah, and it's just we're gonna get there when we do. We do have all of these open setups, so teams are gonna be working really. I mean, we got a lot of people who are sitting on the same college. I'm sure they're working together. They're gonna be able to really mess with their car. As Alif said, they have so much more freedom compared to something like some of the fixed setups and whatnot. So gonna be excited to see some of that strategy come into play, and I just can't wait to see it happen next week.
Yeah, it's going to be a really fun season. I think we're going to have a lot more cars in the upcoming races to make this even better. Looking at our final results for this race, our race winner in dominating fashion tonight, our Muhammad Ali for Ball State University. Hunter Hadesty from Clemson, first alumni in the field, finishes second. Cale Davison, Lucas Moody, and Bradley Skinker round out the top 5, all of them from Ball State. Clint Halterman comes home 6th for UNC Charlotte, and Luis Diaz 7th. Jason Wallet, 8th for Drexel University, and Edwin Onofre, 9th, the alumni from the University of North Texas. First Clemson car in the field is Andrew Burrow, who came home 10th. Timothy Wilms, also a Drexel car, 11th place, and Anthony Alexander Diamond, his teammate behind him, finished 12th. Mark Turek from the Penn College of Technology in 13th, and Esteban Munoz in that 9 car brings it home 14th. Aiken Lamar, 15th. Ryan Whitlock, 16th, and rounding out our field is Clemson's Nick Stockner in 17th position. Coming out on Monday night, we've got the College Cup Series racing from Auto Club. Should be about the same time, 7:45 Central, 8:45 Eastern, and that's going to be a great race. It's the opening race of the Cup Series, and that's always a very fun and competitive series in the CIL. And looking ahead to next Wednesday, 6 days from now, we've got the Formula College Series with their first race of the season as they travel to Japan in the Super Formula cars to take on the legendary Suzuka circuit. It's going to be fun and you won't want to miss it. Thank you for watching the Collegiate iRacing League and our first ever College Prototype Challenge race tonight from Virginia International Raceway. We will see you on Monday for the College Cup Series, and we'll see you every week, same time for the rest of the semester. Good night.